We will be dealing with acute PID, acute pelvic infections. Now, this is the infection of upper genital tract in female. We have seen lower genital tract infections, mostly of the vulva, vagina. Now, upper genital tract infection, when lower genital tract is affected, external genitalia, which comprises of vestibule, in which there are openings, no? Vaginal opening, then vaginal glands opening, urethral opening. If anywhere there is affection, say we have seen bacterial vaginosis, even trichomonas or monilial or any anaerobic infection. Now, if this infection is ascending, if it is ascending from vagina to the cervix, into the uterine cavity, it enters into the fallopian tube, affecting the ovary, and hence also affects the infundibulum, the female pelvis part. So this infection is always ascending, traveling from lower genital tract to upper genital tract, in which it affects the uterus, fallopian tube and ovary. Also it affects the pelvis. So this affection is slow and steady if it is not treated at any point. If left untreated, this may cause various acute pelvic inflammatory diseases named as cervicitis, endometritis. If it affects fallopian tube, it causes salpingitis. If it affects ovary, it causes oophorytis. And we will also see the complication that it occurs togetherly. It affects tube and ovary. It is called as tubo-ovarian mass. Now, coming to the etiology. Now, as we have seen, this travels to the mucus. Basically, if there is a bacterial vaginosis, we know there is the lactobacillus, which are the vaginal floras, which prevent any infection. If it is in normal status, if the pH is not disturbed, if it is normal, it will not allow the entry of the external organisms or endo-organisms to grow. But if it is disturbed, if it is thinned by any other infection, then this cervical mucus becomes poor and infection gets ascending infection occurs. This is the reason. So, etiology wise, there are multiple bacteria which may affect, which are seen to isolate from fallopian tube, from ovary or from the pelvis. But commonest is anaerobic bacteria, which we can say it is the polymicrobial. Many bacteria like Streptococcus pyogenes, Staphylococcus, Pseudo. So, lot of bacteria, long list is there, but most common bacteria, most common affections are due to chlamydia trachomatis causing chlamydia infections, Neisseria gonorrhea causing gonorrheal infection. These are the bean shaped. So these three are the major organisms which may affect the acute PID, which may cause. Now we have seen it is a statistic. So 1.5% of young women is affected yearly. Young women means it doesn't mean that adolescent age group girls don't suffer, but reproductive age group of women are more prone for it. Sometime in their life, if they are having surgery, it may affect through surgery. In married women, reproductive age women, even if vaginal delivery occurs and not taken care properly, it may cause PID. Earlier it was noted in 1970s the IUDs were like that, it may cause the PID, but nowadays IUDs are safe. But still the mode of transmission as an insertion of IUD also matters. Now, we have seen etiopathogenesis, students. Now if a woman is coming to you, by what symptoms she may come to you? She may remain even asymptomatic. So symptoms varies from none to mild, moderate or severe symptoms she may come with. Now basically she may come with lower abdominal pain along the fallopian tube in the lower abdomen. She may experience unilateral or bilateral. Then vaginal discharge. It is very common according to the condition. It can be seen as a mucopurulent mucus, offensive or non-offensive according to the cause. Due to infection and inflammation, the process which is occurring, which is presented in the form of fever. She will also come with the burning, micturition because of associated urethritis. Pain during sex, that is discomfort in the coition. This occurs because of cervicitis. Now, we have already seen how the organism travels. So, if the focus is there, that there is a focus of lymphocytes neutrophils, macrophages. So these cells, enzymes and all the inflammatory response occurs. If inflammation occurs, what actually happens? Due to inflammation, fallopian tube becomes damaged. The inner mucosa is damaged. Now we are focusing on the salpingitis part of the infection. If salpingitis has occurred, so this infection, if travel here and it disturbs the tubal mucosa, it completely damages it. So it causes the scarring as well as some pockets are formed here. This is then disturbed. The normal motility of the organisms or is disturbed in the fallopian tube. This inflammatory response is causing pain as well as fever presentation, burning, micturition, dyspnea. If occasionally she may also get the irregularity in her menstruation. If this symptom is present, it is okay, still it is mild to moderate. But sometime this infection travels from the inflammation occurs to the fallopian tube, from the fallopian tube through the ovary, and it travels in the pelvis. Here it may go to the liver, and if it affects the liver, it may cause perihepatitis. That is, hepatitis means inflammation of the hepatic capsule, and this is the presentation which is seen, not common, but it occurs. It is called as Fitz-Hugh-Curtis syndrome. It is called as Fitz-Hugh-Curtis syndrome. So this includes as, so it confuses most of the time whether a woman is presenting with right hypochondrium, hepatic disorder or salpingitis, but proper medical history and examination for the diagnosis will confirm whether it is the perihepatitis due to salpingitis. So science wise will confirm the pervaginal biomanual proper examination. On moving the cervix, women will experience the expression of pain that is called as cervical motion tenderness. She may also experience uterine tenderness. If you examine to the posterolateral fornix, then uterine tenderness as well as adnexal tenderness at the side of the uterus, fallopian tube and pelvic infection involved. So this tenderness and discharge, if swab is higher vaginal cervical discharge is taken in the cotton swab, it looks like a mucopurulent discharge. Further, this swab is confirmed for diagnosis. But before that, what will be the complications if it occurs? So complications are major. She may have infertility. So while treating or getting examined for infertility, if laparoscopy is done, sometimes it is detected through laparoscopy if she is asymptomatic that there are certain complications of salpingitis. Now we'll see first what is the fate of acute PID means in that salpingitis. If it is left untreated, if there is inflammation, then exudation occurs, the watery secretion. If osteas are occluded, it remains inside it swells the fallopian tube. This enlarged fallopian tube is known as hydrosalpinx, collection of fluid. If it is superadded with infection, if it is no more sterile, the pus discharge occurs there. Collection of pus is known as pyosalpinx. And if tube and ovary, we know these are very near in vicinity, these two are affected togetherly, most of the time is a dangerous complication which may even burst. It is called as a TO mass, tubo-ovarian mass. Some other complications include ectopic pregnancy. This TO mass may burst, or ectopic pregnancy commonest cause is the PID, and it is the commonest cause of female death in the young age if it has occurred. Then chronic pelvic pain. If untreated, then acute may change into chronic, and women may experience on and off chronic pelvic pain. This is not very sure, but it is considered if not treated, the inflammation is lingering inside, may turn into. So how will you diagnose the acute PID? Diagnosis is fairly on clinical history. If we obtain a proper medical history of pain, character of bleeding, and history of marriage or recent IUD insertion, or had a sex with one or multiple partners, and recent history of sexually transmitted infection will help you. So diagnosis is mostly clinical. Now if clinical is supported by sonographic evidences. Sonography usually detect if PID is advanced, it may detect the endometrial thickenings, tubal damage, swellings, if TO mass is there, TO complex is very nicely picked up by ultrasonography, which may be done by pelvic transvaginal sonography. Then laparoscopy is not a routine, but in cases of severe PIDs, this can be helpful for diagnosing the Fitzsimmons-Curtis syndrome if hepatitis and if it is confusing. If a woman is not responding to the medical treatment, then laparoscopy can be advised. It detects the Whirling string adhesions. Whirling like strings are adhesions seen at the liver area in the capsule. Then while performing any surgery, we can detect this. One can detect hydrosalpinx, pyrosalpinx or any tortuosity over the tube as well as ovary, the complex of surgery can detect finally if patient is not responding. Then other investigations are blood investigations. In that one can know about the ESR levels, TLC, DLC. That means high infections or chronic infections or acute infections can be differentiated by raised neutrophils or lymphocytes. Plus CBC means complete CBC will give you all idea about the status of the infection. So blood investigation is also very important. Then this is how if we diagnose by any of the modality present here, we will have to differentiate it from other diagnostic diseases. In that, all the diseases which comes under the heading of acute abdomen, we know it is appendicitis, peritonitis, then it may be ectopic pregnancy, gynecological conditions, obstetric condition, this ectopic pregnancy, all this, then torsion, ovarian cyst, hemorrhagic cyst, rupture cyst, then other causes of acute abdomen as well as gynecological conditions. If these are differentiated by their symptoms and investigations, we can come to the diagnosis of acute PID. And how will you prevent? If it is occurring frequently, women may come with recurrences, which is not good. If recurrences or lingering infection somewhere, we will advise her to avoid the douching also, which is not good, which will disturb the vaginal pH, and presence of bacterial vaginosis most of the time favors PID. Then using condom or diaphragm means protecting the sex, having one partner, as well as if woman is actually having the symptoms of PID, if she is being diagnosed, she should avoid the sex. That means abstinence. This is how PID can be dealt with and proper symptomatic treatment.